Hi again everyone, I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hi Ollie. My story has not been like the others I've seen on your channel because I was not the primary source for the narcissist. I met this man online and then in person, but we had known each other since children online. He was heavy, fast, especially sexual. I was clueless because I had never dated anyone before. Our meeting consisted of a restaurant and a movie. At the restaurant, he talked about himself a lot. We then went to the theater. He quickly moved to physical contact with approval. He came on strong and fast. Within hours, we were talking on the phone all night. He was sending texts regularly and calling. Next time we were together, he went through my cell phone and grabbed me by the crotch while we were in the car. You're saying you weren't the primary source for the narcissist? Are you kidding? That's pretty primary if he's grabbing you by the crotch and going through your cell phone. I'm honestly not sure if he knows anything about me because it always seemed to be about him. Gee, you think? I would go to his location and we'd watch movies, go boating, and he'd push sexually consistently. The typical day was restaurants, some activity, golf, boat, etc., and adult activity. I could not be sexually intimate at the time because of a medical issue, but like hell, I was telling him. If he grabs you by the crotch, like the second day and goes through your phone, like, isn't that like a red flag of what he's after? He was huge on cuddling and wanted to try anal. He would consistently talk about his ex and how she was cold-hearted, she was mentally ill, drug addict, physically abused him, cheated on him, etc. At the same time, he bragged about himself for his criminal deviance and fighting for custody of his kid. So, his criminal deviance, he's grabbing you by the crotch. Like, I'm not getting, you're saying you're the secondary source? He keeps pushing all this sexuality on him, but you're saying you can't have sex because of a medical issue. He would constantly use my vehicle. I was not allowed to drive when with him because he knew his town better. I just found out recently he used my car to stalk his ex with, whom had temporary restraining order on him. He soon played the ghost game and went back to his ex. He constantly had financial issues and wouldn't pay his rent. He wanted to move into my place. He made himself into the single dad hero who did everything to get custody away from the horrible birth mom. I showed up one day to surprise him because he was depressed and he literally, not even figuratively, ran away. I had coordinated this with his dad, so it really wasn't out of the blue. A couple months later, he reappears out of the blue. New phone number, casual like, hey, as if shit didn't go down. He belittled me and called me a tease. Now he's living with a girl, but he says he doesn't want to be with her. He wanted me on the side and said I'd have to see him kiss her and be with her. I stayed in a friends mode for this, aka non-sexual, because I wouldn't do that to her. He continued to be sexual. Why are you still being around him then? I mean, at some point you got to cut it off. I apologized to this girl later on for the bullshit that went down, and he has no clue. He once again would have disappeared. Later, I found out that he received another restraining order from an ex and had kicked in her door. He owed her money and was paying her back, but not really because the card was empty. I have no clue how he owed money when she paid child support. I remember him being proud for kicking in the door. We had gone to the beach and I was in a swimsuit. It was highly suggested to me to cover up by him. I'm having a hard time reading. I'm having a hard time reading this. I'm really having a hard time understanding what's going on here. It seems like you're just throwing out random thoughts that. Phone number changed again, and another casual hey. I put my foot down and said, enough of this bullshit. This is a relationship or nothing. Why would you put your foot down to be in a relationship with this loser? He agreed. This time the manipulation started with the if you love me, you'd bullshit. He wanted to attend school and wanted me to move to that location with him. At this point, he had lived in at least 5 different places in 2 years, changed jobs at least 4 times. One morning, his child kept calling for him, but he wouldn't budge, so I took care of them. I get the child dressed and ready. When he finally got up, I was belittled for how I dressed the kid like it wasn't good enough. A couple of weeks later, I found out he's making out with this child, barely 18, but he claims, I want you to me. I said, prove it. Prove it? Like, what is wrong with prove it? He's making out with an 18-year-old? I'm really having a hard time following this. I said, prove it. His response was to add me on Facebook. We're supposed to go on a getaway together, and he tells me he has no money. At this point, I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not paying for everything, and left. He had notice of the trip. Hell, if he had like $40, fine, but nope, nothing. I later found out that he had money and used it to go boating. Gas is not cheap with his ex. I come back from the trip to surprise him and find him with her in her car, not sexual. I strangle him, he runs away. I should have walked away at this point, but I do not own my own, I should have walked away at this point, but I do own my wrong in placing my hands on him. You should own your wrong for just chasing him to begin with. What are you doing? He later says he'd never be with her because she has an STD. I go to think, okay, they took the kid, they are the parents, so okay, let's just see. Later, when we spoke, I caught him lying. He kept talking circular, and I said, this doesn't make sense. I still tread the waters, but no longer trust him. I had told him my greatest fear in confidence. The next week, I get text messages from the birth mom of my greatest fear, which only he would have known. You know, you're playing in Ratchet River here, and like you're gonna get Ratchet on you. Like you're just playing a Ratchet game with all of this. This is just Ratchet, all of it. What do you? Again, this is another one, and I'm going to be called a misogynist by somebody, but like this is on you too. I can't even really follow this. I asked her to stop, but she refused, so I threatened to put a restraining order on her. He then later said he only wanted to see how much he could get out of me and wanted a sugar mom. He always said he didn't want to work. I was also continuously berated for my one-time action of strangling him, which I take responsibility for, and have never repeated again. It has been years. Listen, I'm going to assume you're another black female, okay? But you are caught up in Ratchet games, okay? You're caught up in Ratchet drama. This is what it is. This is what it is. It's just fucking Ratchet. All of it. All of it. You're having a hard time coming off sympathetic in any of this. He then tells his kid he's being hurt by me, so the kid will protect him when I was just standing there. I was done. I had cried in front of him twice, and the response was scary. The first time he ignored me. The second time just walked out while the child consoled me. I am always concerned for that child and will always love them. Months later, guess who returns? Yeah, I'm a dumbass for allowing this shit to be continuing. This time, he just wanted to stay at my house because he was working nearby. I gave him the spare room, but he would consistently whine that he wanted the master bedroom, which was off limits. This happened on and off for 3 years to the point where I was broke. He stayed at my house and didn't have a car to get to work. I didn't even know this when he came the first time. He had to assumed that I would drive him. Entitled much? At the same time, well, you keep showing him that you're going to play his Ratchet game, so why wouldn't he have entitlement at this point? At the same time, he would bring these co-workers to my house and I didn't know them. I later found out every single one of them had a criminal record, either drugs or theft. 3 rings went missing from my home, but I cannot prove when it happened, so I'm SOL. He had been staying at my house consistently enough that I'm like, okay, you need to kick something in. At the end, he said that I thought he was using me and that he didn't want people thinking he uses people. He disappeared after this. I was told I didn't earn enough and that I was always mad. He would live on his phone. I always had dinner made, did his laundry, asked him not to leave his cig remainders in my yard because of my dog, and he constantly did it. In general, oh my God, it was all about him. I seriously have no clue if he knew anything about me. He was able to read my emotions and tell me how I feel and then use it against me. His baby mom told me he is a user, liar, and was using me for my car. I wish I hadn't listened to her in the beginning. She then told me he said I was overweight, violent, and that he made fun of me for my gastric surgery. He was a drug dealer, DUI child in car, stalked, harassed baby mom, pulled her hair, kicked her door in, got multiple people arrested, and found it funny, horrific with money, would spend yours but cheap with his. Substance abuse problem, drinker, constantly put his family members down, always assumed everything was about him. Anything we did was what he wanted to do. If I did something I wanted, he pouted, had a weird smirk, lied to his probation officer, and didn't pay his fine, so got thrown back in jail. Suicidal tendencies, but they didn't last long. Would tell me how to dress, but you look good in this kind of way. Stole items in plain view, always messy, wouldn't clean up dog poop in his bathroom because it wasn't his dog. That was one sentence. He said his baby's mom had an anchor baby and was also a sister-in-law. When you play the Narcissist Ratchet games, you win Ratchet prizes. I mean, that's the only thing I could say about this. That's the only thing I could say about this. Play Ratchet games, win Ratchet prizes. I mean, this is just Ratchet. Ratchet. He also called his sister-in-law a drug addict. Mind you, when we ran into his sister-in-law one day, he didn't know I knew it was her. He made a quick exit without introducing us. He would take his child everywhere he went, including drug deals, and any girl he was trying to screw. He consistently tried to have sex with the child in plain view. He has physically abused his father, but I'm not sure if that's normal for his dad-kid relationship. His father is disabled and he kicked the chair out from under him. His dad is the only person he is scared of. He is made it well known he chases money. I would never take pictures of myself when with him because I did not feel good about myself. Shortly after he was out of my life, I started taking pictures. I constantly felt like I was walking on eggshells if I contacted him. I would write out a text and delete it because I was afraid of the response or tell myself he doesn't give a damn. I would think I wasn't doing enough, so I'd start to initiate conversations, sexual. If I initiated anything, it was turned down. He had to have control. I later found out the truth of so many lies through police reports. I was in no contact at this point. Who the hell has 75 pages of police reports for their 20s? He always hated the police, but puts on a bullshit mask pretending to respect them. He also now has access to guns. I recently just learned about narcissism when something clicked in my head. He is now married to some woman, and I'm concerned for her. I doubt she knows his history and what he's capable of. I also know it's not my concern, and just to stay the hell away. As you should. It's not your concern. Stay the hell away. Okay, you said you had a gastric bypass, so I imagine you had self-esteem issues growing up, probably from your black mother, who beat the shit out of you and made you feel like nothing, that you had to accept this type of bullshit. Why you were so hungry for this guy to accept you, probably because you thought no one else would want you. It's never worth it. Because the overall lesson of your video, you play the Narcissist Ratchet games, you win Ratchet prizes. Period. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your donation and your story. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up Skype, a phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it growing, successful, and expanding, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys. Without you, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been The Narcissistic Resistance. Take care.